Welcome to the Let's Talk About Love, Sex, and Infidelity podcast with your host, Todd Creager. Todd has over 35 years of experience working with thousands of couples as a licensed therapist in his private practice. Todd shares his insights on this show. It's never too early to divorce-proof your marriage or too late to heal yourselves and have the relationship you truly want.
Hi, everybody. This is Todd Creager, and today I'm talking to you about the hidden costs of not fixing your communication patterns. As a person who's been working with couples for decades, I can tell you this, that, and it's not the first time I've said it, is that we really haven't, most of us, haven't had really good teachers of how to communicate well. Communicating is really the process of me sharing information with you about what's going on with me, especially on the inside, what I'm feeling, what I'm wanting, what I'm needing, what I'm dreaming of, what I like, what I don't like, and for the other person to take it in, to listen, to be present. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen much of it. When couples get together, of course, in the beginning, for the most part, everything's exciting and wonderful. But as we all know, who've been in relationships for any extended period of time, challenges happen, disappointments happen, frustrations happen. And what do we do? How do we stay connected through it? What are some of the hidden costs of not fixing your communication patterns? And now I could tell you that I do work in a lot of areas, such as healing from infidelity, how to deal with low sexual desire, how to deal with in-laws. There's all kinds of things that I help people with. But I can tell you that it all boils down to one thing, and that is, on some level, we've lost our sacred connection to each other. It's really what it is. We've lost our connection, our sacred connection. And when people come to see me, oftentimes they just don't know each other very well, at least anymore. And so what happens? What happens if we never fix this? If we get caught up in bickering or avoidance patterns or escalated communication patterns, what happens? One of the things that I see for the couple is they will oftentimes eventually settle. They just settle. And one of the things that happens, I see, which is really unpleasant for me to see, is when couples settle. This is what we got. This is as good as it gets. And even though maybe I'm not saying all relationships have amazing, much more potential than that, but most do. Most relationships have way more potential where they don't have to just settle. There's just things they need to do to connect, even though they haven't learned it maybe very well through their parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles. So that's what I find, that when they don't never fix this communication challenge, these patterns that don't keep you connected, they just settle and they become housemates. They maybe grieve or maybe partially grieve or maybe just secretly long for something more. So they either grieve and they just accept it, or they just live with this yearning for something more, but they don't do it. They just don't. And, that ultimately, of course, because we have a mind-body connection, can affect our physical health as well. There's no question that there are many studies out there that show how healthy, intimate relationships can oftentimes boost the immune system and other biological systems of each partner when we have that really quality relationship. And on the other end of the spectrum is when we don't have that, physical systems can be affected. It could lead to, excuse me, it could lead to cardiovascular heart issues. Some people, that's where it has, like people get brokenhearted. It could lead to stomach issues where they can't stomach the relationship or how disconnected they are. It could affect people in the skeletal muscle system when they don't feel that support. And I could probably go on and on about that. And so when people don't fix their communication patterns, they don't stay oftentimes at a certain level of disconnect. It just gets worse. They drift apart more and they risk a point where it's irreversible because sometimes people just, they lose it. We all have thresholds. And so if we wait too long to fix that communication pattern that keeps us disconnected, we often find that it becomes irreversible. A lot of times when people come to see me, they ask me, God, why does every little thing spark a conflict? And usually those little things that we're fighting about have to do with those flawed communication patterns. It's usually those little issues are not unimportant. It's where we hang our coat on these deeper issues, on those issues. They come out in those issues. And so maybe a person who is fighting because their partner forgot to bring something home from the store, maybe they've generally felt insignificant or that they didn't matter based on years of how they were treated or they weren't prioritized or the partner wasn't able to communicate what they felt or weren't interested in what they felt. So those kinds of things happen. Those little things can spark a conflict because the deeper communication patterns have not been fixed. There is a foreboding sense of loneliness, of feeling insignificant, of being, I would say, the central nervous system can be unregulated because they're not regulating each other well. I'd say this a lot. There's the healthy couples are those that they develop the kind of communication patterns where they're capable of down-regulating the other person from more stress to less stress and up-regulating them from neutral to more alive. And we do that through our connection. It's the only way we could. Yes, little things sometimes spark conflicts because the core, deeper needs aren't being met. So if you find yourself being in one of those relations where it just seems like you're fighting over every little thing, you might want to look for the bigger thing. So how do you know when it's time to get help? I think people should be very open to get help because of what I said in the very first part of what I've been saying here. And that is that we haven't had the training. So oftentimes we need a guide. It's very hard to go from flawed or ineffective communication patterns with your intimate other to really healthy ones without somebody else guiding you, unless you had amazing role models and you just gotten a little bit of a slump that situationally caused it. But what I find is much of the time with people, they just never had those role models. They didn't see it, they didn't feel it. So they don't have a sense of what it might look like when a person can communicate well. So it's really almost always helpful to get some professional help if you feel like you've been stuck. Now, obviously, if you're at the point where you're at that threshold and you feel like, wow, if we don't get it, if nothing changes, I'm leaving, I'm divorcing, then of course, definitely it's time to get help. If you find that you or your partner is drinking more alcohol and not being present, or things are escalating like that, of course it's time to get help. My point here is that we should always be open to finding somebody such as myself, somebody that can help you navigate and help you not be run by your protective patterns. Because basically, these communication patterns that don't work happen because we're really trying to protect ourselves from something, feeling not good enough, feeling afraid of feeling like I'm afraid you're going to leave me. We oftentimes don't take chances. communicating about difficult things such as even sexuality. We avoid it because I don't want to be embarrassed. People, even with long-term partners, they are trying to avoid being embarrassed. There's all kinds of things that prevent us from communicating well, whether we fight a lot or we flight or we freeze, because of these parts of us that protect. And so having someone that can help us navigate, not be hijacked by our protections, and instead access the love and the courage to do what you have to do to become more vulnerable with each other, that might be a good idea. And again, the sooner the better, because you don't want to get to the point where one or both of you have hit that threshold where you're just so disconnected, you get apathetic, or that you have physical issues like I talked about. I hope this helps. I think, again, that one of my main takeaways is if you find that you're arguing over little things, look for the big thing, the bigger thing in you and your partner that you each might need that you're not getting. And just accept the fact that we're all beginners still, and we have to learn. We have to learn how to communicate well. And instead of beating yourself up because you're having problems in your relationship, say, of course I have problems in my relationship. There's things I need to learn. Now let's go learn them. So thank you for listening. I hope this is helpful. I do have a program that I am trying to tell people about, and the name of it is called From Bickering and Escalating to Connecting and Loving. And you could just click on the link and read about it. It is a powerful 90-minute or so talk / seminar / workshop, because there's things you're going to be needing to do there to begin shifting your communication patterns away from dysfunctional ones that lead to bickering and disconnecting to more healthy ones that lead to more connecting, more sense of being loved, being understood, and all that. So click on that link, check it out. Highly worth your time. Thanks for listening. Todd Creager, making the world safe for love.
That's it for today's episode of Let's Talk About Love, Sex, and Infidelity podcast with your host, Todd Creager. For free resources and materials, head over to toddcreager.com. Loved this episode? Head over to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and leave a review. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.